Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. Still morning, right? Yeah, it's just a little bit after 11 here. Happy Thursday. I'm Coach Laura Smith. My passion, my goal is to help you look, feel, function your best every single day. And while you're on the journey there, I help make it easier for you and hope to make sure you have fun doing it too. So this week I am doing a Happy Healthy Mom series to give you tips for getting healthier from a fitness nutrition standpoint, so that again that journey is a little bit easier and more fun for you, especially for the moms out there like me who have that mom life thing that often interrupts and sometimes makes that process difficult. So day 3 I tried to do an interview last night here, and Facebook just wasn't cooperating with us last night. We ended up going live on Instagram. It was a live through my stories, and I didn't save it, and I can't upload it to YouTube. And there was such great content for you. So actually, my coach Daisy and I are going to redo that here on Facebook on Friday morning, so that we can get it up to YouTube and it can be a permanent part of this page and the series that people can access on YouTube. So I'm excited about that. So today is still technically day 4, and we're going to talk about kicking mom guilt to the curb once and for all, because I know it's something that many of us struggle with. Some of us not just once in a while, maybe even on a daily basis, depending on your situation. And I think this applies to moms, whether you work outside the home or not. We all feel it. We all experience it. We all often fall short of our own expectations. So this is a subject that I addressed in our fitness accountability group this morning, and I posted about it, and I wanted to share it here in a more public way so that everybody would benefit. But I found a really great article that kind of suggested 5 ways to reduce mom guilt. And so I thought I'd share some of those with you. Is by Dr. Julie Hanks. I'll definitely give her credit. But just sharing some of those things with you here, along with my own thoughts and faults probably. So number 1, stop the cycle of comparison, right? You've probably heard the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy, and it really is. And I think that in today's day and age, with social media and us seeing everybody else's highlight reel, especially moms posting pictures of their kids, their accomplishments, things you do with your kids, things you do as a family. Of course you want to share those highlights. But seeing everybody's highlights, sometimes when things aren't going so well in our own life, or when we feel short on time or stress and we're not able to do the same things, it really brings us down because we're constantly comparing ourselves. So my mantra when I kind of get into that mode is, oh, good for them, how nice for them, but refocus on your own family and what's realistic for you, and never let the cool stuff that somebody else is seemingly doing or what you're perceiving make you feel worse about your own life, which is so much easier said than done, but it's something we really need to be conscientious of, and it's something that we really need to work on. So stop the cycle of comparison. Number 2 is value the process, not just the end product. So this is really about enjoying the journey to what you perceive as a better place. So like a great example is, I'm, in a couple weeks when this crazy sports season, this crazy time at my work is over or whatever, I'm going to be able to like organize the closets and clean the house or whatever. Like maybe it's a clean out thing, because that makes a lot of us feel better. And we tend to let that end result kind of distract us from present joy. Like, why is the house a mess? What are the reasons? What is the busyness going on that we can actually maybe start enjoying if we just didn't worry about how messy the house was anymore? Like, what's that for? What are we doing in the meantime, and what am I missing if I'm obsessing about the end result? So I think it's just really important to enjoy those little things, and know that you're in process to maybe fixing something maybe that's not right in your world, but don't let that distract you from the cool stuff that's going on in the meantime, or maybe the reasons why you can't clean the house or do something like that. That's just a quick example I thought of, but make sure that you're enjoying the process of things too, and maybe even enjoying the things that are keeping you from getting to an end goal, because chances are there's some value in there and some things to pay attention to. So the third one I love, it's recognize the value of being unproductive. Good for me because I'm one of those people that doesn't feel right if I'm not like accomplishing something, if I'm not action oriented. But we all need a break. We all need a rest. Our kids absolutely need a rest. They need to see us relaxing and not stressing. So there is huge value in being unproductive and involving your family in that and letting them see that and teaching them that too. I always say I don't want my kids to be the same stress monsters that I even was, even at that age. So it's important that I learn how to handle stress better, that I take some time off, that they actually see me being unproductive every once in a while, because that's a big part of taking care of our body and our mental health. And you want your kids to learn that too. So huge value in being unproductive. And then the next one, number 4, is challenge your negative or self-defeating beliefs, right? So we, going back to the productivity thing, we often tie our self-worth or judge how good of a mom we are on how busy or productive we are. So it kind of ties into the one before. So if you really believe that the more productive you are, the more valuable you are, that would mean that like individuals with physical disabilities, limitations aren't worth as much either. And that's absolutely nonsense. So when you look at it like that, like make an analogy like that, it makes you realize how flawed that belief system is. So you want to constantly challenge, if that's one of your negative or that's a self-defeating belief, even more than a negative one, you want to challenge that and think more reasonably about that. And I'm a huge believer in daily personal development. So I'm happy if, like, I had somebody message me the other day and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. What podcast or what book would you recommend to help me confront this and get through this? And so I was able to make some really good suggestions based on what specific issue she had, because I've been doing this every day for a long time. So, and I'm still learning about resources, but there are things that have really helped me in certain areas. And so I am always so happy to share those with you. But just working on yourself and picking up resources that help you constantly challenge self-defeating negative beliefs is so important. And because I think those are so much more of a part of our life than we really realize before we actually like take charge and confront them, and you have control over that. I saw a great quote this morning that says, like, I'm not going to get it exactly right. Actually, let me see if I can find it because I saved it and I don't think it's going to pop up for me here. But gosh, it's such a great quote. I'm going to see if I can find it. Here it is. You can be happier and less stressed right now without changing anything in your life except your thinking. Seriously. It actually says seriously. It all starts with your thinking. That came from SusieRosenstein.com. I will credit the source, but I actually saved it because, wow, I'm going to read it again. You can be happier and less stressed right now without changing anything in your life except your thinking. Seriously, that's powerful, right? It's so powerful to think that we have that kind of control. And very often our stress revolves around us being out of control, feeling out of control. So we can control that, and it's important to understand that. Number 5, reevaluate your expectations. We all have such high, sometimes ridiculous expectations. Anybody end up putting like way too much on your to-do list way too often, to the point where you know you'll probably never accomplish all that, but you do it anyway? Like, we need to set up more reasonable expectations and goals for ourselves, even undershoot when it comes to a to-do list, and feel great about what we accomplish. Because the other piece of that is we tend to focus on all the things that we didn't accomplish instead of celebrating the things we did. And I'm hugely guilty of this. So that at the end of the day, don't look at stuff on your to-do list that you didn't do. Celebrate the things that you did. Reduce expectations where necessary so that you can overshoot them and feel better and feel more accomplished, because chances are you're expecting too much of yourselves in various situations. So those are the 5. Stop comparing. Value the process, not just the end product. Recognize the value of being unproductive, hugely valuable. Constantly challenge your negative and self-defeating beliefs, and reevaluate your expectations. Lower them a little bit if necessary. Chances are they're too high. And there's one more thing that I want to add to this, because it relates specific to mom guilt. Because we expect too much of ourselves, because we put so much on ourselves, we sometimes forget that the person that's most important in this equation, and the reason that we feel good at all, is because we're trying to give the best to our children. And I think this gets a little bit easier as your kids get a little bit older. So what I have learned, mine are 19 and 15 now, and especially because they're older, what I have realized is that it's really good to ask them what's important to them, because many times the things that we're stressing about doing or not doing, like, your kids don't give a rip about, but you just never asked, you just assumed, or you're putting that on your perfectionistic self. So one of the examples I can provide from my own life is my son is an athlete. There are tons of events and games and often out-of-town travel stuff to go to. His dad and I often have to split. Both of us can't do both, or perhaps I have an important work event and I'm struggling with getting, in my brain, maybe not being able to travel to see him play for a weekend or whatever. Like, you sometimes feel guilty about that. And what I learned to do is just have really honest conversations with him about where it's important that I be for him and what he's fine with. And he's pretty honest with me about it. So some of the things that I'm struggling with the most in terms of the places I feel most guilty about not being, he'll be like, yeah, that's fine, Mom. Like, that's cool. Or if I have to choose, maybe I can't do both, but I can just do one, I'll ask him where it's more important to him that I be. So one of the things that I posted this morning, one of our people in our group said, I feel mom guilt every day, don't you? And I said, not anymore. Not anymore. My kids are a little older. I do personal development every day. I've realized some of these things. They're absolutely accurate. And when push comes to shove, I just ask my kids, where do you need me to be? What's important to you and what's not? Because again, we often just put way too much on ourselves. So I hope those tips were helpful to you. I hope you're having a beautiful week leading up to Mother's Day. I hope you're planning not just a day of celebration, but ways to help yourself be happier and healthier every single day, because you're a mom and you absolutely deserve that. You're enough just the way you are. I hope this series has been helpful to you. We've got a couple more coming up, so keep tuning in. And again, I'm going to make up the technology failed to you last night and get that one up too. That's on involving your kids in the better nutrition and meal prepping process. And I've got a great resource person to share with you for that. So we'll get that redone. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, please message me. If you think this would be helpful to another mom you know, please tag or share. Bye guys. Have a great day.